Welcome to Module 1 of our course Africa and the Middle East. In this part of the lecture, we will explore the historical foundations that shaped Afro-Middle East relations, beginning from early interactions and moving through colonial legacies, independence struggles, and the emergence of modern political frameworks like the African Union (AU) and the Arab League. We will also examine the political dynamics that evolved during the 20th century, laying the groundwork for the complex and interwoven relationships we see today. Understanding this history is crucial because it shows us that the ties between Africa and the Middle East are not merely modern diplomatic conveniences. They are rooted in centuries of trade, migration, religion, and shared struggles against colonial domination. 1. Early connections between Africa and the Middle East. 1.1 Pre-Islamic contacts. Before Islam emerged in the 7th century, there were already extensive connections between parts of Africa and the Middle East. Ancient Egypt had centuries-long interactions with the Levant and the Arabian Peninsula, exchanging goods such as gold, papyrus, spices, and incense. The Kingdom of Aksum in present-day Ethiopia maintained maritime trade links with the Arabian Peninsula, particularly with Yemen. Arab tribes were present along the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden coasts, facilitating cross-cultural exchanges. These early connections were often driven by trade, especially gold, ivory, and incense. Migration. Maritime navigation routes linking East Africa, Arabia, and beyond. 1.2 Islamic expansion and cultural exchange. The spread of Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries created a shared religious and cultural space across North Africa and parts of the Middle East. The Arab conquest brought North Africa into the Dar al-Islam, a house of Islam, linking it politically and culturally to the Middle East. Trade routes expanded from West Africa through the Sahara to North Africa and the Middle East. Arabic became the lingua franca in many regions, and Islamic scholarship flourished in cities like Cairo, Timbuktu, and Fez. This period also saw the growth of trans-Saharan trade networks, moving gold, salt, textiles, and enslaved people between Africa and the Middle East. 1.3 Ottoman influence. From the 16th century onward, the Ottoman Empire dominated much of the Middle East and North Africa. This created political integration under Ottoman administration in places like Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria. A shared legal and religious framework under Islamic law. Military and diplomatic links that often extended into sub-Saharan Africa. By the early 20th century, however, Ottoman authority had declined, and European colonial powers were reshaping the Afro-Middle East map. 2. Colonial legacies and their impact. 2.1 European colonization. Both Africa and the Middle East experienced intense colonial control in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Britain controlled Egypt, Sudan, Palestine, Iraq, and parts of the Gulf. France dominated Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Syria, and Lebanon. Italy occupied Libya, Eritrea, and Somalia. Belgium, Portugal, Spain, and Germany had other African territories. Colonialism altered traditional trade routes, imposed artificial borders, and disrupted local governance structures. 2.2 Impact on Afro-Middle East relations. European colonial policies often separated Africa from the Middle East politically and economically. Borders were drawn without regard for historic cultural ties. Colonial powers controlled foreign policy, making direct Afro-Middle East relations rare. Resistance movements in both regions began to share anti-colonial strategies, laying the foundation for post-independence cooperation. 3. Decolonization and the rise of Pan-Africanism and Pan-Arabism. 3.1 Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism emerged as a movement for unity among African peoples and nations. It sought to end colonial rule, promote political solidarity, and encourage economic cooperation. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana pushed for a united Africa. 3.2 Pan-Arabism. Pan-Arabism similarly sought unity among Arab nations. Championed by leaders like Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt. Aimed at political independence from Western influence and economic cooperation among Arab states. Both movements intersected in North Africa and through Egypt's leadership role in both African and Arab affairs. 3.3 Afro-Arab solidarity in the 1950s and 1960s. After independence, African and Arab states supported each other. Egypt under Nasser became a bridge between the Arab world and Africa. The Casablanca Group, 1961, included African leaders aligned with Arab nationalist goals. Both regions supported liberation movements in Angola, Algeria, and Palestine. 4. Formation of the African Union (AU) and the Arab League. 4.1 The Arab League. Founded in 1945, the Arab League's goals included political coordination, economic cooperation, and cultural exchange among Arab states. North African members like Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco played major roles in linking the League to broader African politics. 4.2 The African Union. Originated as the Organization of African Unity, OAU, in 1963 and transformed into the AU in 2002. Aimed to promote unity, defend sovereignty, and accelerate socio-economic development. 4.3 Institutional links. The AU and Arab League sometimes coordinate on peacekeeping missions, economic summits, development projects, joint positions in the United Nations. However, political differences have sometimes limited deep integration. 5. Political relations up to the late 20th century. 5.1 Cold War context. During the Cold War, some African and Middle Eastern states aligned with the Soviet Union, e.g., Egypt pre-1970s, Libya, Ethiopia. Others aligned with the West, e.g., Morocco, Saudi Arabia. The ideological divide sometimes strained Afro-Middle East unity. 5.2 Key diplomatic moments. 1973 Yom Kippur War. Many African countries broke diplomatic relations with Israel under pressure from Arab states. Oil embargoes in the 1970s strengthened Arab influence in Africa. Libya under Gaddafi invested heavily in African infrastructure, trying to merge Pan-Arab and Pan-African goals. Lecture recap for Module 1. We've covered early historical connections between Africa and the Middle East, the colonial experience and its divisive impact, the rise of Pan-Africanism and Pan-Arabism, the creation of the AU and Arab League, political relations through the 20th century,